Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about finding triads within scale shapes. So a lot of times we learn these things independently. We learn our scale shapes, major, minor, pentatonic, all the modes, and we learn our triads, whether it's the open chords, bar chords, or triads up and down the neck, but we don't do these at the same time, or we don't combine these, and we think about them discretely. But that doesn't really help us when we're trying to improvise or write, or kind of fluidly go between playing rhythm and playing lead and incorporating chord tones into our lead playing smoothly. It's helpful to know how to find these triads within the scale shape so that we can do these two things at once, go up and down the scale and go through chord tones at the same time. Now, if you're unfamiliar with triads or chords in a key or the major scale, it'd be a good idea to brush up on some of those things. There are plenty of lessons on YouTube about this. I have some stuff in my shorts and my videos, so you can take a look there. What we're going to need for this lesson then is an understanding of how to build a major scale box shape, what triads are, major and minor and diminished, how to find the chords in a key, right? All the scale degrees and what their corresponding chords are, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. If any of that kind of goes over your head, I would pause this video, go brush up on your triadic knowledge, on your scale knowledge, your understanding of how to get chords in a key, and come back to this lesson. This lesson is aimed more at those who are more intermediate, who have a decent understanding of what a triad is, how to find it somewhat on the neck, what a major scale is, and how to find chords in a key. So right away, we're going to be in the key of A major. So I'm going to use this A major box shape starting on the 5th fret of the low E string. This is pretty familiar. So that's our scale here. You can do this exercise and we can use this method of finding triads within a scale with pretty much any scale. But we're going to start with the king of all scales or the queen of all scales, whatever, the major scale. And we're going to pick a chord progression. To find a chord progression, of course, we just need to put together certain chords that come from the same key. If we're thinking about things in terms of the Nashville number system or just interval numbers, we're going to build a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. This is a progression used in hundreds of songs. It almost ruins all this music for you once you see how common it is, but really it's just a really useful and, I don't know, it's part of our Western musical vocabulary in terms of chord progressions. So in the key of A major, that means we're going to have an A, play it right there as a bar chord, or just open if you want. The 5 chord is an E major, play it there or as a bar chord if you want to be closer to the scale. Then an F sharp minor, that's our 6th chord. You can play it right here as a bar chord in the 2nd fret of the low E, or way up here if you want on the 9th fret of the A, an A minor based bar chord. And then we're going to need a D. You can play the D open chord or the D bar chord, the A bass D bar chord right here in the 5th fret of the A string. So again, that's A, E major, F sharp minor, and then D major. By the way, if someone ever refers to the A or the D chord and they don't qualify it, the default is always major because the major is the king of all scales. Okay. Or different ways of voicing the same chords. Okay, so right away we have a scale shape. We have a bunch of chords, and you could just use bar chords or open chords, like I said. Of course, you can use just the more simple broken down triads too. We can have an A right here. That's on 7, 6, 5 on the middle string set, the 2, 3, 4 string set. 7, 6, 5, that's an A, right? And then if you want to play an E really close by, you can play one right here on 6, 4, 3 on the same string set. That's an E right there. Then if you want to play an F sharp minor, stay on the same string set, 2, 3, 4. You can grab one right here, 7, 6, 7. And then if you want a D major, you just flatten your finger across the 7th fret on the same string set, and you have a D major right there. These are the simplified triads where you just get the essential ingredients and no double voicings or anything like that. A, 7, 6, 5, E, 6, 4, 5, F sharp minor, 7, 6, 7, and then D, 7, 7, 7 on the same string set, just to keep things really easy. So already 3 ways to play this chord progression. right there. But we still haven't really connected our scale shape, at least physically, in our triads. Now we could just play bar chords on these and link most of these up to specific notes in this scale position. Right, that one right there. There on the 7th fret of the A. Then it's going to be kind of tough for the F sharp. There's an F sharp right here in the scale shape. On the 4th fret of the D string, we could play this little shape here. 4, 2, 2, 2, which comes from this bar chord right here. If we need a D, we can play that one. Right there. That does go off of this note, this note, this note, and this note. But they're not all comfortably within that scale shape. I mean, this one kind of is. But this one takes us outside the scale shape, which can be fine if you want to move beyond the box, but it's often helpful to stay within a box until you know how to use it really well. A lot of guitar players want to know how to get outside of the box, and I totally understand that, wanting to move to different parts of the neck. But in my view, it's helpful to kind of narrow down the range of notes and the physical position you have and really know how to use that to the fullest extent that you can before you start moving around. And to use it to the fullest extent, you got to know where the chord tones are within that little scale shape. And then once you master that, you can use the triadic shapes that kind of connect to this shape and pull you outside and find other extended scale shapes over there. But to start off, you really should try to find all the chord tones right there within that physical scale shape. And they're all going to be there. I mean, all the chord tones are built out of the scale. All the chords are built out of the scale. So you should be able to find all the triads within one scale position and use that as a good basis for improvisation and songwriting. So that's what we're going to do today. So how do we do that? Well, to find triadic shapes within a physical scale location, you're not going to be able to find them in such a way that you can play all the notes at once. You're going to have to double up on certain strings to play all the notes of each triad, which is fine because we're playing leads here. We're not really playing chords, or we're not really reaching for double stops or things like that just yet. We just want all the chords. We just want all the notes in the chords that are being played. So let's find triads within this physical scale shape. So right away, that's an A major triad right within the shape. 5 on the low E, 4 on the A, 7 on the A. By the way, this shape right here, 5-4, as long as you're on the bottom 4 strings, will always be a major third shape. So 5-4, and then 7, of course, that's a power chord shape. That's always a perfect 5th shape, right? So root, major third, perfect 5th. That's our A major right there, right within this scale shape. Makes perfect sense. Okay, that's our 1 chord, A major. But what about our 5 chord? Well, it's going to start right where the last one left off, right? We just did a 1, 3, 5. This is the 5th note right here. Our 5 chord is going to start right here. You have a shape right here tucked within the scale. It ends up being 7, 6, 4. Some of these will be those triadic shapes that we learn apart from this exercise that can be played all at once. Like this one. This is an E major. So again, it's 7, 6, 4. There, by the way, that shape again is that major third shape. Right there. So we have A major, E major. Again, we're still within the box shape. So now we need F sharp minor. Well, an F sharp is right here on the 4th fret of the D string. Again, right within the scale shape. We have 4, 7, 6. That makes sense, right? Up 3 frets is always a minor third, and we're looking for a minor triad. So 4, 7 on the D string, then 6 on the G string. That, again, is that relationship right there, that perfect 5th. So root, minor third, perfect 5th. It's an F sharp minor. That's our 6th chord, our minor 6th chord. 6 chords are always minor in a major key. And then we need our 4 chord, which is going to be a D. There's a D right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, our D. And we can use the same shape we used for A, but starting on the A string. 5 on the A string, 4 on the D string, 7 on the D string. And again, there's that shape again, that major third shape and that perfect 5th shape. So all together, we have A major, the 1 chord, E major, the 5 chord, F sharp minor, the 6th chord, the minor 6th chord, and we have the 4 chord, the D major. That is just this. And it's the same as this. Or the same as this. But the benefit of this is that you're really gluing together in the closest way possible the triads and the scale shape. You don't have to move out of this box at all. So you can just make your leads sound like the progression without really moving your hand. You can do it in a really basic way, like that's just playing the triads straight out, and you can see they all fall within. And of course, you can do this up the next octave as well. We're going to stick within 1 octave first, just to get a feel for this. But this is really how you can begin to use your triadic knowledge and your scale knowledge at the same time within a specific location. This is what I recommend here. I recommend trying to find the triads within a specific scale shape and not in a way that takes you outside the shape like this one would. If I played an E right there in the 7th fret of A, these are within the scale, but they're not within the scale shape that we started. They're in some extension or some other box. It's just, that's great if you want to. Obviously, if you want to move around the neck, using those triad shapes that take you outside of a box is the way to go. But I say start off trying to find the triads within the box. That's hard enough as it is to play along with the changes. I mean, if someone's strumming these chords, what I recommend practicing here is trying to play these 3 notes of each of these triads over the changes. Just do that right away. The simplest way to play the changes is just to play the root note of each. A, E, F sharp, D, right within one scale shape. And maybe play the root in the 3rd over each change. Then play the whole triad over every single chord change. And those are your target notes for when you're soloing. And you can play more than just those notes. Those are going to sound the most resolved. When you play chord tones over the chord that's currently happening, it sounds like they fit the most. But of course, you want to create tension too, so you can use those as notes that you target when you want to resolve things. That's down the road though. For now, just get used to finding these triads within the scale shape and playing notes from them over specific chords. That by itself takes a lot of practice, and to do it in time while the chord changes are happening relentlessly, right? They're unrelenting. They don't actually stop. They're not going to stop for you. To be able to get there when you need to get there in a way that doesn't feel like you're out of breath and you're really scared. Just getting used to those changes and playing notes from those chords in a single shape when the time is right, when those chords actually happen. That's what you want to get first. So when you're done watching this video, find a progression on YouTube that's a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression in some key. Find that box shape, whether maybe it's B major. The good thing there is you can just move all these shapes around. If it's B major, you have it right there, and the exact same shapes will apply. You have that one right there, that one, and that one. They're going to be the same shapes, just 2 frets up. So you can transpose this around the neck. Find a backing track in a specific key. That's a 1, 5, 6, 4. Find your box shape. Find your triads within the first octave of that box shape, and just play notes from those triads over the chords when they happen. Start with the root, then play the root in the 3rd, then play the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. And that is going to be quite a workout for you as you're beginning your improvisational journey, where you want to play things that are tied closer to the chords and not just noodle around, pentatonic licks, which are awesome, but to play in a way that is more melodic. That always requires playing the changes, or playing over the changes, or playing through the changes. All these different ways of talking about the same thing, which is making your playing connect with the underlying chords and the chord changes. All right, see you in the next video.